Hey, Rick, can you hear me? I thought you were sleeping over there. No?
No? Okay. If you do, just set your snooze alarm.
Yeah, don't snore. Wow, that's a little loud.
All right.
You're really loud.
Abby, is it a go? Okay. I would like to call the City of Apache Junction Health and Human Services Commission special meeting of March the 30th, 2026 at 5:02 PM to order. Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Roll call.
Chairman Brennan,
Present.
Vice Chair Danford,
Present?
Commissioner Montgomery,
Present.
Commissioner Kraselic,
Present.
Commissioner Smithson,
Present.
Commissioner Michaeland,
Present.
and Commissioner Wood is recusing herself.
Right.
So you have a quorum, Your Honor.
Perfect. Thank you. Okay, so do I have a motion to agree to the consent of the agenda?
I'd like to move that we approve this consent agenda.
Second.
Roll call.
Commissioner Smithson,
Yes.
Commissioner Montgomery,
Yes.
Vice Chairman Danford,
Yes.
Commissioner Kraselic,
Yes.
Commissioner Wood, Commissioner Michaeland,
Yes.
Chairman Brennan.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
Okay. Cruising right along. I don't believe there is either, there isn't old business. So the new business is to consider fiscal year 26-27 Health and Human Services funding recommendations to be presented to the City Council on April the 20th at the work session at the witching hour of 7. They don't operate in the sunlight. I guess there's something about that. At any rate. Okay.
Oh,
Evie?
here. Yeah. Okay. Oh, gotcha. I'm sorry, I was being educated on how to operate a computer.
Really, I fully understand. I really do.
My apologies, Commissioner. What was the question?
Okay, we have read the introit to saying that the fiscal year 26-27 funding would be considered at this meeting and presented to the City Council on the 20th of April of this year during their work session. And to you.
That is correct. So April 20th is a Monday, and typically this presentation is brought before council at a work session so that they can discuss further if they need to, and then they typically will make their decision. Is it the next night? Well, officially, they approve whatever you recommend. If they approve that, it's approved the same night as the actual fiscal year 26-27 budget. And then we come back with and the contracts are listed in there under a consent agenda item, so that's typically mid-June, I believe. So to begin tonight, I would suggest that I'll hand it back over to Mr. Chair, and we can just start down the line with a new leaf if you would like. I do have, excuse me, a spreadsheet that I will keep track of as we go along. Like we did last year. Does this look familiar to some of you?
Okay.
Okay.
So, then, in an effort to try and come to some conclusions about funding, I want to make two statements. First, number one, our mission is to try and make as certain as possible that the funding is allocated for the citizens of Apache Junction. And number two, that we are aware that the amount that we have available to us is $100,000. Not a penny more, and maybe a penny less or two, we'll see. So, with that in mind, I'm open for anyone on the commission to offer their thoughts and going in order on New Leaf and CAFA. I said CAFTA last time, but that is a little esoteric. So,
Okay, I vote for 10,000 for New Leaf.
I agree.
so okay. Is there another amount that is workable? I'd prefer that everybody get on the record for the amount that they want, okay? So if you want to go down in line and say, and I equally agree that $10,000 is the amount, that's fine, okay?
I think in the past, what we've done is we all start off like this with the amounts that we want to give, and then we do some negotiating and giving and taking on
Right, if we have
what
to,
we end up to.
right,
So, yeah, right now, I'm voting for $10,000 for New Leaf.
okay.
And was it Commissioner Kraselek that agreed?
I agree. I
Okay.
feel we gave them $67.50 yet last year, so that'll give them more money this year to give them a bit of an increase, and I think that's a fair gift.
Yeah, Commissioner Buckley.
I'm going to be rogue here. I'm going to say 0 because I am looking to load up on another area.
Okay.
I had down 5,000. And I'm just trying to remember in my notes. I think, anyway, yeah.
Commissioner Montgomery?
3,000.
Well, okay,
May I?
all right.
I probably should explain my
Yes,
my 0.
yes.
Okay, so for me, again, we have a certain amount of money. I'm really about the residents of Apache Junction. New Leaf gets money from so many different places. It's a huge organization. So because we're limited as to what we have, I really want to see it go to something that is, I know is going to be Apache Junction only, and it's going to be easy to monitor. So they have so many other avenues and venues for their fundraising. Thus, that's the reason for my 0.
All right. And, Evie, I'm going to say 10,000, but I have two addendums. One is that New Leaf noted for us that over a past funding drive, they made $975,928. That was for specifically CAFA. It wasn't for a New Leaf. And when we get down to the real data that says that in fiscal year 25, they served 466 individuals throughout the New Leaf CAFA program, while 72 were Apache Junction residents, meaning 15%. So I think we need to take that into consideration and look at that, because I really wrestled with this. And again, I tried to avoid my past experience with a New Leaf, which is both positive and negative, and how that might influence it. And then, but I think we've got a good range of dispersal between 0 and 10,000, and now comes some of the negotiation on this one.
Did
Or
we?
wait, did
I
we-
think we just went ahead to
Yeah, we
each
went ahead and did
column
all of
and
them.
then kind
And then
of
came back and
revisited.
looked for a
Yeah.
moderate, yeah,
Believe it.
okay,
Angela's right.
yeah, all right, okay. The next one on our agenda is, of course, the Apache Junction Community Development Corporation. Who would like to,
7,500.
okay. Commissioner Montgomery, perfect.
My vote was 7,500 also.
My vote also was 7,500.
My vote's 10,000 because I would like to see them do more work with more funding because they are definitely Apache Junction only.
And I agree with that.
I
I
had,
actually had a plus mark next to my
Okay.
7,500.
I had 7,500.
Well, I'm Mr. Parsimony. I said only 6,000. And the reason I said 6,000 was that every year, they tell me that they have to buy new shovels and other things. Now, if people are walking off with those, then that's a problem. But the reality of that, though, is a little artificial because those are donated things. So they adroitly pointed out the AJ Parks and Rec sum of 6419 was something that they paid outright to Parks and Rec that had been in the budget and had been from apparently Parks and Recs, and they just simply returned it. I don't have a quarrel with them. I think they do a great deal, and ex-city councilwoman Evans did an excellent job of presenting things, but there is, as I found in several of these presentations, some ambiguity about exactly what I would measure to demonstrate that they are completing what it is that they agreed to provide. It's my understanding that their general focus is code violation remediation. Their secondary function is to deal with hazardous materials or things that make environmental hazards for a portion of the community, or perhaps even just a very limited constellation of a few streets, but nonetheless, to make sure that no one is exposed to vermin, to pesticides, to various pestilence, and to dangerous debris that might lend to tetanus, et cetera, et cetera. So, again, I am willing to elevate this if that's the commission's intention, but at the moment, I believe that 6,000 meets that and should suffice. But
One of the things, Chairman, I'd like to add to that is in consideration of this being 100% for Apache Junction, the thing I take a look at is the larger hierarchy of structure, and they take zero pay. These are 100% all volunteers.
Absolutely.
And we're trying to beautify and make Apache Junction a better place for all of us to live. And part of that is visual appearance and safety. And the fact that these people are willing to go out and clean up our community, whether it's a city ordinance. We all know the world is struggling with mental illness, and some of these people have issues there. Some of them have physical inabilities to be able to get out there and do that. But to me, this particular organization screams community, and let's help make our community better. I think anybody in business knows you're going to have a degree of equipment that walks off. I have it at my own place of employment, and everybody has their name on it. How does a tape measure go missing? I don't know that answer. But I think if annually there is a little bit of money put into some supply so that the greater good is to be able to keep the community safe and beautiful, I think that renders the 7,500, or as Sandy said, up to 10,000.
okay, I appreciate that retort.
Thank you.
Okay. Any further debate on that organization?
Not yet.
Okay, we're cruising. Okay, the next organization that we have is Azura Vita.
10,000.
Okay,
5,000.
okay.
And I said 0.
I also said 0.
Okay,
Yeah, I struggle with this one because of it was just a little bit obscure for me, so yeah, 0.
okay. I said 4,000. My reasoning was this. They talk about filing taxes for individuals. I have to believe that they do not file taxes for businesses, partly predicated on the limitations of eligibility for them. Therefore, that means they're only really invested in doing what they do according to what they portray it as for a period of 4 months, from January through the end of April. And since everybody else is asking for funding on an annual basis, that would mean that if we annualize that, that would be 12,000. But since it is for that limited time, because that's when that activity takes place, I think 4,000 is a reasonable amount.
I'm not sure I buy that argument, though. I mean, annualizing it, yeah, you can annualize anything. The fact of the matter is, tax preparation comes around during a certain period of time. And I'm in a position where I can do my own taxes. I don't have any issues, but I've got a few neighbors that really can't negotiate. They don't know how to use TurboTax. They can't afford to go to H&R Block. And I think this is a pretty good service to help elderly people or people who cannot normally do it, get their taxes filed. And there may be refunds coming from those taxes that they can use, which benefits our community. So, yeah.
They said they got $6 million back in household refunds last year.
Yeah, and that's quite a boost for our community, because those people are going to spend that money.
The part I was somewhat confused on is their ask was in reference to $323,000 for software, and that seemed like a very large investment on an annual basis for filing taxes. I don't do taxes, I'm not an accountant, but my understanding is once you purchase this software, you have it and you can use multiple taxes.
No, because
Changes every year.
because the tax laws
They change.
change every year. So you have
Correct,
to
but-
keep up with those changes.
Let me restate my statement. I understood once you bought the software, you can file multiple people's taxes with the same software annually.
I think so.
Oh, yeah, you could file as many people with the same software.
Correct.
But the problem is the software has to be purchased every year to keep up with the upgrades in the tax laws. And you can't just buy one license. You got to buy one license for every computer you're using. And that adds up.
And it may determine how many people actually can use that software. Even like when you're with big corporations, they may have, let's just say Microsoft Teams, they may only have a contract for 500 employees.
Exactly.
So, and I used something like this similar when I was very young and a single parent, and I appreciate the need for it, and again, putting monies back into Apache Junction. The one thing I really struggled with was not having a location. And I don't know, but I feel like there were places that could have been done or secured prior to this tax season. So I really struggled with, that just not having been secured.
Right, they have 11 locations, Mesa, Chandler, and Gilbert.
I was not able to find, did we give them a donation last year for the second to the last?
No,
No, they've never applied
they
before.
didn't
Okay,
apply last
first
year.
time. Thank you.
Maybe they can,
And-
Mr. Chair, maybe they can come back next year with a better location, Apache Junction. Again, I know other places serve people that are in Apache Junction, but again, we only have so much money to give, so I'm going to go with Apache Junction location.
Yeah, they do get money from Wells Fargo, from the city of Chandler, from the city of Gilbert, and individual donors. And they do acknowledge in their submission, peak services are exactly what I stated, January to April.
That's tax time.
Yeah, that's what I said. Okay. All right. Are there any other amounts that wish to be considered? We have 3 individuals that have stated a sum.
And 2 stated 0. Excuse me.
Okay. All right, okay. Oh,
Or 3, I'm sorry, 3.
oh, 3, okay. So the blank is just like 0. We don't just put a 0 in there?
Well, I do, but it defaults to that line.
Perfectly. Okay, okay, moving on down. The next is Boys and Girls Young Football League. Okay,
Black and gold, youth football.
Yes.
It's not boys and girls is the,
fair enough.
there we go.
Although I think they did have boys and girls, but
6,000.
I also opted for 6,000.
Speaking from experience and the importance of sports, I suggest 12,000. I found, again, the passion of the individual that spoke and about the importance of leadership in young men and young women is more than about football and cheer. It's about teamwork, camaraderie, self-esteem, building strength, and building a community. You know, we're trying to have a high school that's competitive. My boys went to an excellent high school, and they both got scholarships to Ivy League schools because of football. And I think Apache Junction High School has a great opportunity here to help develop these young men and women at a young age and get them off the street of different potential exposures. And the way the gentleman presented it, it was pretty straightforward, that it was for uniforms, for kids that can't afford cleats, and to be able to bring them into an inclusion and not hold it against them that they can't afford it. And it would just allow for more scholarships. And I think this is very important for kids.
Yeah, I agree with all that. I just put down 2,000, but I'm willing to negotiate it.
I put down 10. My reasoning, number one, I did a lot of checking in the background, spoken to several people on the school board, that this group actually feeds right into the school system, and they all had great things to say about it, that the kids come out of this program and they go right into the school program and have done really, really well. And for the children who can't afford, and parents who can't afford for their uniforms and cleats and things of that nature, again, this is Apache Junction. One caveat, though, he did say he had children from all different areas. I would like to make sure that the scholarships only went to Apache Junction kids.
All right. And my decision came down to the season. The season is approximately from July the 7th, which really is practice, and it starts officially on the 29th, but he didn't say when it ends. And my assumption is it ends probably in November. So, and 20% of their yearly budget is what they're asking for. And as a consequence, I said 4,000, but I'm willing to look at more. It's just I think we're getting, with some of the sums, into a range where some of the things that have a more direct benefit for the community at large get compromised with those sorts of sums, but we can discuss that. Okay, moving on. Number 5. This is for Boys and Girls Club. I think I have Boys and Girls correct with that one.
Yes, yes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
15,000.
0.
20,000.
Wait.
Oh, sorry.
We'll talk about it. Go.
Jeff, let's talk about it.
Right.
Well, I mean, this shouldn't come as a surprise because every year I vote to give them 0. My feeling is the Boys and Girls Clubs is a great organization. My kids used to go to it. One of them did. But they have a lot of other funding sources, an awful lot of funding sources. And I'm also concerned that a lot of the money they make from that big gala they do every year doesn't even go to the Apache Junction Boys and Girls Club. It goes to the East Valley Club, and they only get a portion of it. So, yeah, right now I'm at 0. I mean, you can always twist my arm like you do every year, but right now I'm voting 0.
I said 10,000.
I said 3,000 for the same reasons that Commissioner Danford said. They have a lot of funding. They're a really big organization, and they're certainly worthy. But again, I'm back to Apache Junction, and I'm earmarking some of that money for something else.
May I ask, do we know what their gift was last year from this organization, from us?
I think my recollection is it was about 15, I think.
I don't recall off the top of my head, and I don't think I can access that information, but I can certainly, I mean, it's probably not going to help your decision later, but
Commissioner
but the question
Smithson, do you remember?
It was, I think they asked again for 30, but I'm thinking it was closer to 10 to 15 that we did.
I feel like the reason I'm asking is that was a very pointed question in their application, and I read through it and I couldn't find it in the application, so it would have been nice to know that information.
I think that's a tangent that we ought to address, is that there were several things done on applications that seemed really not quite standard, and especially for individuals that had been previously on this commission and then not abide by the rules of submitting an application, seems kind of interesting, but nonetheless.
Okay.
So I had put 15,000, and my rationale was this, that if you add up the sums that they had from the Star Gala, the Avondale Cup, and the Connect Brunch, that was $2,200,000 that they had available. The other was that they continue to have a paucity of individuals that are graduating from high school. And I keep asking over and over through these years, what is your attrition rate? How many people are involved from the 5-year-old level all the way up till 18? And I don't get a clear answer. The other issue that I find interesting is, in a way, younger kids are subsidizing older kids. If you remember what they told us, the fee that they charged younger kids and families was $60 a month,
Correct.
where older kids got charged 10.
so I have the information for you.
Okay?
They were granted 9,000. 6,000 was for mentorship, their mentorship program, and 3,000 was for the hardship to individuals.
Thank you.
Okay. Any further discussion on that, besides our haggling afterwards? All right. The next is Kiwanis. And, again, neatly typed.
2,000.
2,000 for me, too.
Excuse me, I said 10,000.
I said 2,000.
I said 1,000.
And I said 2,000. I thought that was, one of the problems I had with many of these was that when we look at identified performance measures, they weren't explicit. They were implied. And that makes it difficult to assess whether or not what they said they were going to do was accomplished.
Yeah.
I appreciate taking 9 individuals to the rodeo is a unique experiential event, but I don't know how much that changes the life of that individual compared to some other interventions, such as happens with the Boys and Girls Club, where you theoretically have several days a week of intervention, perhaps for an entire year's time over several years. And that's my diatribe on that one.
Yeah, and you know how much I love the Kiwanis Club, but I feel like it was a little hard to track exactly. Kind of the same thing, where the benefit was going to go with that.
All right. Okay. Next is a very interesting one. And you got a little added email that said something about what was represented here. So this is NASCARE. NASCARE is an organization that is in the Mercy Care Regional Behavioral Health Entity catchment area. And as a consequence, they do get funds from that, and that's not really listed. They really do not have the assumption, because they wanted funds for capital improvements, and lent, at least per my assumption, that they were talking about a structure in which they may have domiciled people, but that wasn't the case. They have meetings there, but people meet throughout the week with the exemptions being holidays and weekends. So they don't meet every day, and they have that there. When asked about follow-up, especially with SMI individuals, the biggest reason for anyone having rehospitalization for whatever medical problem is non-compliance with protocol. And therefore, you wonder whether or not they intervene at a given level when they see someone initially deteriorating, decompensating, and try and get some help. And I was remiss, I didn't ask about that and should have, because I think that's really a critical part of what they do. I was intrigued by the fact that all of their phone numbers are for Northern Arizona. May mean nothing. May mean nothing at all.
May mean everything.
It may mean quite a bit.
Excuse me, Chairman, I think she did make an announcement, or somehow we found out that their main branch is in Prescott. It seems like, did she say that during her presentation?
I think she did, but I did some collateral research because
Oh,
I have
gotcha.
a very interesting source of a person who was at the CEO of the hospital up there, my brother. And he tells me that actually they're an excellent organization that does quite a great deal for the community. But again, that may be something that's a little more robust. They may have a sort of either, because what she's implying is sort of a day hospital format. And versus a hospital format that would intervene with decompensation and helping someone get restabilized and back into the community. She addressed, in a way, issues about helping people have some sort of training to have gainful employment, even if it's only part-time or whatever. And yet, the real problem was the statement that SMI funding was compromised and not there. And you will note that the email you got said that at the site for Access Behavioral Services, that those benefits have not been cut, that there is potential cuts to them as the year progresses, but at this time, that is not the case. Funding is intact.
My biggest concern with this provider is I feel like when I look at what we're doing with the monies, these are for community services. And I really feel like it will be a slippery slope when I feel like we're interjecting into access and Medicaid and patients. And if it was, okay, we wanted this because we wanted to do a community day or something like that, but I feel like we're subsidizing Medicaid services. And I struggle with that, and I love the concept. I'm a therapist. I love the concept. I like that it's somewhat psychosocial rehab, but I'm really struggling with what she presented was we had 2 clients that are no longer able to come. And if we do that, when does that stop?
Right.
So I just don't want to do that. I like what they do, and maybe if they had something specific outside of that, I just don't want to get in that arena.
That was my thought too. So I put 0. I don't want them to depend on this for services like that, I guess is the way.
I also said 0.
Commissioner Montgomery, was your 0?
It was 0.
Okay, all right.
Mine was 10,000.
Mine was 0.
And mine was 4,000, but willing to, because I'm the one that brought up the other issues that seemed to not exactly correlate with what the facts were. And that when we look at it being essentially a day hospital. Well, it wasn't even that. It was like a day program that offered some services, but even the services, per what she revealed, were diminished because she said 2 staff members had to be let go because of the cuts.
Very,
And
yeah.
again, since the cuts didn't quite happen, I don't know what that exactly means.
And because it's that type of program, and when you do things like that, you need to show that it is repeatable and that it is measurable. And what are we doing and what are the results from it and what is working and what is not. And I felt like there was a grave deficit in that information. I feel for her because that's my field. So I expected a little bit more. I appreciate her coming in and saying, we asked for this, but this is really what we could use it for. Even though I recommended 0, I want to give a number. I worry about my forward thinking with the monies.
Look, I think your points are issues that I have too, in many of these. We need data that demonstrates the efficacy of what's happening, or else we're funding with an idea that something's being accomplished, but without any information that demonstrates that it has been. There used to be a part of the application that said, how are you going to measure your efficacy, the effectiveness of your interventions? And that wasn't there this year, so. But I understand, I do, and that ought to be there. And as I've said a little bit ago, one of the major reasons in medicine, regardless of the specialty, for decompensation is non-compliance with treatment.
Yeah.
Okay. Moving on up to the west side. All right. Oh, here's Eric's deal. All right.
5450,
How much, I'm sorry?
54.5.
Okay.
54,500.
I'll go. Okay, so I said 75,000. Is this the time that it's appropriate for us to talk about how that money is going to be spent? Okay, so I would like to see at least $40,000 of that go to the backpack program, maybe even more than that. And I would like specific schools, if possible, to be named if that's appropriate, so that we know for sure that that money will end up going there and not going into another fund. And I'm sure there's lots of needs that Eric has, but I want that money specifically to go to the backpack program.
So I will just interject at this point, when you actually get ready to make the full motions, that's where you'll want to include
Perfect.
for the record what you want, what
Okay.
your expectancies are for each dollar amount that
Okay.
you.
Right, those contingencies, absolutely.
Would it be proper for us to ask Eric if that's doable, to commit just 40,000 to the backpack program?
Well,
Okay, so now we can negotiate after. I wanted to make sure I didn't want us to vote on it and have him say, oh, I can't do that.
Well, that's kind of the format, because if you only have so much money, and that's what you say it's for, then he's
what
got to
you put
find a
it
way to
for.
make something like that work.
I thought it was worth asking him, though.
Fair enough.
So I did 75.
So I did 30,000, and the reason for my thought on this was kind of some of the conversation we've had with other organizations. Last year, they got in excess of $3 million from multitudes of donations, and they're a very large organization that people typically attract to for donations. I think part of my challenge is that we don't know what other schools want to sign on, and in the interview process, the schools that were already on board are the ones that exist, but the other schools have not committed. And I don't know how much it cost to put a backpack together. I know there was some conversation that the backpacks could have more food in them, which is great. But I also know they also give a great deal on donation day. And it just personally concerns me that I've seen very wealthy individuals with fancy cars in that lineup, and I can't understand how you could drive a Tesla but still need food. And I feel that there's other organizations that are of a smaller magnitude where, to me, the food bank falls in the category of the Boys and Girls Club and some of these larger organizations that has a lot of different resources for funding. And I feel like you've got a lot of people here that have asked for money, and to give that large of amount is excessive by my standards, considering last year they got 70, the year before 56 to 50, the year before 35, the year before 30, the year before 26. So over the course of 5 years, their donation sum has tripled, and that seems excessive to me, considering, to Dwanna's point earlier, there are other programs like Access that provides food to people. And then when the government shut down, it was stated in the meeting that even though the government shut down, there were still 45,750 individuals, 45,790 individuals that received funding, but yet Apache Junction only has a population of 47,000. And so 62% of those people are from Apache Junction. To me, it's very difficult to see and guarantee that those funds are strictly for Apache Junction. It seems like there's a lot of people from other communities that are benefiting from it.
I'd like to take your point about the people showing up in Alexis. The reason for the food bank is to help people who need a hand at that time. There are many people who have houses, who have decent cars, but just lost their job. They may not have money in the bank. They may not have the resources, and we're not expecting them to be, feeding them for the rest of their lives, but we are looking to give them, Eric's group is giving them a handout that they need at the time. Mm-hmm. And I know I've run into this myself 50 years ago where we needed help, but they told me I had to sell the car, I had to sell all our belongings, we had to be in debt for some X number of dollars, and when I asked them, does that mean I have to be at rock bottom? He said, yeah. And they told me straight out, there's no provision for helping people who need a helping hand. And that's where I'm concerned now is that, if we look at somebody and say, well, gee, look at the car they're driving, well, what do you want to do? Sell their car so they have to walk to work? And tell them you can't have food because of it? I have a problem with that thinking, that these people need a helping hand. Now, they do have income requirements, as I recall. You cannot be making over a certain level in order to qualify. So just the fact that you've got a nice car, your income may have just dropped down to zero, and you still need help.
So I understand completely, and I'm compassionate and have empathy for that situation. When I was in medical school and we were living on $400 a month, while I attended the U of A, I got food stamps. And I really appreciated that.
I did too.
And in my post-medical school days, I obviously paid taxes and other things and believe that I more than covered all of that. Nonetheless, that was really a lifesaver at that time for me and my family. The issue, though, is this. For example, with Access, if you have more than $1,500 in assets, you may not qualify, right?
Right.
And so I think that they try and look at parameters, and we have a very problematic environment right now economically, as lots of people are losing jobs, finances are becoming quite difficult. The stock market is losing every bit of the gains that it's had since
Gas
the beginning of
prices.
the year.
Food is getting more expensive.
And food is a lot more expensive. Gasoline is outrageous. If you have a car, you might be lucky you have a Tesla, because at least you can electrically charge it, and that might be a little less.
I want to.
But at any rate, I'll get to my part. Eric, I said 55,000. I think that you do exceptional things, and I think I've told you that over time. And so I believe that adds up on my side to the 100,000, but I'm willing to negotiate in all sorts of ways. with my thought being that if there is an agency that I think could use a little more, I'd like it to go to the food bank, and, but that's that.
How much was your amount, Commissioner Montgomery?
So I did some changing around, my apologies. So for the Black and Gold Youth Football League, I would like to give them 7,500. And then when it comes to the food bank, that will be 60,000.
Now the fun starts.
So, real quick on the food bank, because now I've been doing this for a couple years here. When it comes down to it, and since I deal with food and kids every day, it's, I don't want to use the phrase bang for your buck, but if you're going to have an impact on kids, humans, everything, they've got to be fed. And there's just really no other way around it. I have kids, of course, we're in Mesa and stuff, so I can only imagine where I teach is in Mesa, kids here in Apache Junction, people here. If they are not fed and healthy and not worrying about whether they've got food in their pantry, then it escalates into the other problems that we have, whether it's the mental health and physical and everything else. So that's my thought on it, and that's why I usually go with, and of course, you know, I love kids and stuff, and go with giving the full amount there.
So just to be clear, I also like feeding children. This is not about not feeding children. It's about dispersing a given amount of money to different organizations of where some have larger other resources for gaining donations and income, and some of these other organizations just don't have those resources. But after looking and doing the research I did, Superstition Food Bank does get, as I mentioned before, over $3 million in donations. So I'm not opposed to them feeding their children. I just don't think that we need to allocate 3/4 of our grant to one organization. Sorry.
Where did you get that $3 million figure from?
And while she's looking it up, I can tell you,
It was from last year's 990 form.
Food costs money. I
Well,
just had to go
Really?
spend a ton for my students to cook, so I get it.
So it came from last year's 990 form, contributions and grants, $3,045,462.
That came directly to the Apache Junction Food Bank? Or did it go to one of the parent organizations?
It says Gary Cloffincorn, 575 North Idaho, Apache Junction. Is that true, Eric? That's what the 990 form says.
With in-kind donations, our budget is there, which includes food rescue, which we go around to every morning and pick up from the grocery stores.
Eric, can you come talk to the mic because it's not gonna pick you out, sorry.
So like Pinal County charges us $1 a year for our building, but they get a in-kind donation of $80,000. And so with in-kind donations, our budget is higher because it's in kind. So all the food that gets donated has a dollar amount placed on it, and then that takes our budget to what you're probably seeing. As far as donations, we are not subsidized by United Food Bank, we're not subsidized by Feeding America, we're not subsidized by Pinal County or Arizona State. Everything is community-based giving. And so That's like, we're not a government agency. So with donations, like food and in-kind donations, our budget is elevated. But as far as monetary donations, we don't get 3 million every year. I wish we
Doesn't say
did.
monetary, it says just contributions and grants.
Yeah. So they place a dollar amount on everything we get donated to us, but monetary financial donations, I wish we were in the $3 million range.
May I ask a question while you're still there? So I know in last year, and I'm not sure if you remember you saying it this year, what does it cost to pick up one school for a backpack program approximately?
So we had estimated that the price to have all 4 schools was going to be $42,000 last year. We were only able to add the one. So if we're going to add the 5th one, I haven't done the math yet, but I would say we could probably squeeze the other 5th one in with the 40,000. And if we have to put a little bit of our money in, or I have to go after other grants to make up the difference, then that's what I'll do.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Thank you.
Anything else? Nope.
Okay. Now it's time to squabble. Well, be fortunate it's not a scrum.
Do we need to go to an order, or? Because if we're still on the food bank, I'm not going to budge. I'm saying 75,000.
And I'm not budging either on that. But I am flexible on other things.
Well said.
Okay.
Well, then my recommendation would be in Eric's description that we do 42,000 to cover the schools for the backpack program.
So I'm sorry, you're asking that we put how much more into the food bank?
I had 30, and I would say 42 specified specifically for backpack program.
So when we fill it out, at the bottom, it says for the specific project of.
Yeah. But I think it's got to be broader than that because they do more than that. So that's the addendum, is the backpack school program. But, and this is a new form, Abby.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So,
Maybe we start with New Leaf and just kind of whittle down from there, whittle up, whittle down.
fair enough. A New Leaf has funding in a myriad of ways, and there was some discussion about the CEO. He's going to retire, but it's my understanding that even his retirement may be a funding source. At any rate, they do belong to United Way, and they get funds from that. And Dana didn't mention what they get from United Way. So I agree. I think that can go down some, and I'm willing to have that drop by about 4,000, so $6,000. I mean, how did we do this? Didn't we set up? We kept this intact, and then we just went to a
So
second layer.
yeah, she's got the options.
Oh, good. Thank you. Okay, thank you. Perfect. Okay.
And then the AJ, CDC.
Yeah, I would like to keep AJ CDC there.
I'm so sorry, Chair. Are we going to go with an option 2 or an option 3 under a New Leaf, or is there only one option?
No, we can have multiple options to deal with that.
I would like to propose 8,000 for option 2 then.
Okay?
I think that's a fair compromise of what the 3 people at 10,000 and 2 at 5 and 3 recommended.
So maybe we can put for option 2 under a New Leaf, 8,000.
Okay. Right.
And yeah, I guess we could put do we want to put an option 3 under a new leaf?
I think one option should just be like getting the mean of the numbers, because that's what I've been doing over here.
Okay.
Good.
Yeah, I mean, because I did it like by the amount of people that actually recommended dollar amounts, and I came up to 100. So maybe that can be the third option.
Just doing an actual mean.
Yeah,
Not that we want Evie to have to do more programming here, but an actual mean of
of the numbers. I mean,
divided by the number, the good old arithmetic.
Right.
Divided by the number of people that put in.
I mean, because a new,
So
I
what
did them
is-
all already.
So what is a new leaf? The mean?
7,000.
Okay.
You know, but
So that would be option 3.
Option 3, let's
I am
try
sorry,
that.
where are we, tell me where we got the 7,000 from?
It's just a rough mean of, so what I did is I added it all up and I divided it by the amounts that were given. I didn't do it by 6 if someone said 0.
Understand.
Yeah, so it's just,
you know, the only problem with that, though, is there's a disparity in need, and that doesn't accommodate that. So that's a parameter that distorts that math.
So we
But I
can,
agree. I mean,
we can change
it's
it.
an interesting way to
yeah.
look at it.
Yeah, just an option 3, just to
Right.
kind of, because even when we're looking at this is literally the midpoint between 6 and 8.
Right.
Yeah.
Not if you factor in my 0.
Oh, that's
Yes,
true.
yeah, and I
Not if you
didn't do
factor in my
that.
0.
I
I
did
think
not do
this-
that, yeah.
When you do this kind of math, the zeros have to be factored in.
Well, that's true.
So how do you factor that
1,
in?
2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
You would take the total numbers, add them up, and divide by,
I'm gonna divide it by,
Divide
by
divide
the
by
number.
6 instead of 5.
you would
So-
divide by the number of commissioners, not the
That would
ones
make
that
sense,
gave
yeah.
money.
So
Okay,
then,
so
That
that
would
puts us at
reduce that.
6,000,
so 6,000 would be the,
Option
so we're back at option 1. Okay.
right.
All right. AJCDC?
The average of that was around 7,000, so that can be option 3.
Okay. And I don't have a big problem with that.
So then what about Azura Vida, the average,
Like 3.
3,000
Yeah, because it's 19,000, and then we do that by 6.
by 6, yeah.
Okay. And boy,
We've got some
black and white.
mathematicians.
Okay.
This right here, boys and girls, well, that's black and gold, right?
Yes.
Right, black and gold.
That
Right, I
was
was the one that put
6.
with boys and girls.
So
Yeah.
6,000.
Yes.
I don't want to sound too picky here, but those should actually be option 1, since she's taking the average of the numbers that we first came up with.
Okay, we could do that.
Okay,
We
that's
could
fair.
switch
I'm
it.
sorry. Evie, do you mind? That is just a little manipulation, just move it up with all of those when
And then the haggling.
Commissioner Montgomery does the mean,
And then the haggling starts.
and then the real mean stuff starts.
So then the Boys and Girls Club,
12.
Kiwanis,
3.
NASCAR,
Okay, NASCAR, I got to do a little bit different, because I just did the 14.
yeah.
So it's going 6 going in the 14. So it's going to be like 2,000,
yeah, 14.
roughly 2,000, because 6 going to 4.
And food bank,
The food bank was 50.
I think that's where we're going to have our biggest problem.
Okay,
So,
but wait,
but then
so.
Oh, but it's only at 89.
We're only at 89.
We're only at 89,000, so we have some
got some
room to
math.
move with those sorts of,
Yep.
of mean
Mm-hmm.
values.
Okay.
Okay,
Well, and then maybe we just go down and,
Manipulate up and down.
okay.
Well, in that case, I'd take the 19,000 that we, let's see, we're talking 11,000 that we didn't count. I'd add that to the food bank.
Okay, so you want option 2 being 61,000?
Yes, sir.
Good, okay, good call. I'm okay with that. that would square the thing if we keep everything else constant. I you know, not to be judgmental about Kiwanis, but what we addressed was that it didn't seem to be really
No.
defined, and 2,000 seems to be sufficient.
I agree with that. After hearing everybody's comment, I could absolutely agree with that.
Okay,
So can we give that to the black and gold
right,
and give them 7?
I would love that.
okay. I mean, the guy really had passion, and
He did a really
Yeah.
good job considering he was new.
And they're new. I like that. New and local.
I still feel the Vita is too high.
I do too.
Okay,
Who is?
The Vita, the tax people.
Azura Vida.
okay, so they're at 3.
Can we just go 0 there and
I
move
I
on?
would offer 0.
That's the one I struggle with.
Well, I asked for 10, but I would be willing to go down quite a bit on that one.
So maybe 2?
Maybe 2 or 3.
2,
2 or 3.
okay. And,
What about just giving them the 75 that they ask for at least?
I agree.
Okay,
all
yeah.
right, 7,500. Okay. And
Okay.
NASCAR, leave it 2,000?
But what exactly is going to be done with the 2,000?
You know.
I don't know
it's-
that that's enough for them to even work with to get done anything that she brought up. Because it was all about basically the day program for
Right.
these gentlemen, and it was servicing, well, she said gentlemen, but servicing 1 or 2 of them a week. But that was only like for a month. This, I don't think the 2,000 would benefit them. I think they'd have to find ways to try and
I agree.
spend it.
Okay. All right.
So what are we talking, 0 for NASCAR?
Yes.
Which brings us down to $87,500.
Can I
Well,
speak,
but
a-
we have to go because we didn't finish with Boys and Girls Club.
could I speak a little bit on NASCAR?
Sure.
I do believe a lot of what, because I think this was the one, if I remember correctly, because, well, it even says it on there, they were talking about renovations, but then she talked about staff help. And I think the fact that they lost and had to lay off 2 people doesn't solve the solution of, well, you lost people, so now we're not going to give you anything. I feel something helps them because it gives them the opportunity to bring in some part-time people to help, even if it's one person for 1 hour, to give them an ear to listen to, somebody to play chess with, or somebody to have time with. I understand it's not a full-time program, they don't have the means to do that, but I still think the program is valuable enough to give them something and to be able to put that towards some additional people to help them.
You know, but that's predicated on the assumption that that's 2,000 that they only have. Remember, they're part of the REBA. They get paid a per diem for the individuals that they have there as patients. So they have a funding for the population that they serve. The dilemma that they had, she said, was she insisted that SMI funding was cut, and that wasn't the case. And that as a consequence, they lost 2 staff members. So this is in addition. What wasn't defined, because when they submitted their form, it was capital gains.
Yes.
I mean, capital
Capital
repairs.
gains, yes.
Yeah, capital expenses. So as a consequence, we sort of missed out on some of the real meat of what it is that they were asking for and what the other part of that substance
Right.
was that they have. But they get funding from the REBA for whatever. And I've been out of
Supplemental
that
medical care.
arena for 10 years or so.
don't
So I
think- I don't
can't
like
tell
that.
you what the daily per diem is. But do you know?
I'm not sure what the per diem, but I'm still going to go back to the fact that we're supplementing medical care.
Right.
And I struggle with that. Because if that's the case, that's a slippery slope.
It can be, but at the same time, and again, I'll own my bias.
Right.
As a psychiatrist, that, as I said, one of the biggest problems with mental health care is non-adherence with care. And if they really do, she broached that they had an affiliation with the hospital here. And
they had like a
with
liaison.
Horizon And
can see
having outpatient, but I don't know how well they coordinate that. And I was remiss in not trying to get that better defined.
So if we were to give them even a small amount, I'm thinking, even though I don't have a ton of experience with it, it's going to be difficult for them to find the person to spend it properly and adhere to all the things for such a small amount. And we don't want to supplement something and then have it just disappear. I think if we give them 0, they will come back stronger next year when they submit their application, because they will know. And we've seen that over the years. We've seen some groups not get
agree with
anything, and then they figure it out and they come back better.
That actually goes to, when I first looked at these numbers, my original reaction was 0 because they didn't do the vetting.
Application, right?
They didn't do the vetting or their homework before they wrote this application. And then they come back and say, oh, well, that's really not what we're asking for. We're asking for this.
Right.
And I'm kind of concerned that,
They got a lot of,
they didn't do their homework.
Rolling.
They didn't do their due diligence to figure out exactly what we're all about and they couldn't even fill out the application properly. So the hardliner in me originally said 0 for that. And then I bought into some of the other
I
arguments.
felt that way.
Too. So I'm still in favor of giving them 0.
As am I, because that's $2,000 that we take away from somebody else.
Yes, sir.
So, I'm for 0.
Okay. All right. 0.
Which leaves us as a grand total of $87,500. Boys and Girls Club is still left there.
yeah, we got to,
Oh, did I redo that one? Wait a minute. I think that's around 12, so I think it was 63,000 divided by 12. Yeah, I think that was still like 12,000.
Okay.
30, 40, 50.
Well, I'm gonna stand on 0 for them. Because I just think that the money, we have such a limited pool of funds that we can allocate. And I'm thinking the bigger bang for the buck is gonna come from one of these other organizations like the Food Bank or even AJCDC. Boys and Girls Club they've got access to a lot of funding. And I'm just concerned, with the limited funds we have, I just really don't want to give them the money without, in my mind, shortchange somebody else.
I'm going to lend to a retort that I learned in the process of being on this commission. And an individual came to me and said, Dr. Brennan, I want you to know that if it had not been for Boys and Girls Club, I would not have been able to go to work and them take care of my children during that time span. And I found that terribly important for me to be able to do that and sustain my family.
That's a good point.
so if we were to allocate some money for them, we'd want it to go for what particularly? AJ scholarships for kids for the Boys and Girls Club?
Yes.
Well, they said that when you look at their mission, they said it's to improve reading and math skills by, I think, 3%. And that seems pretty meager. I would think that you'd hope that over the course, because they're dealing with preschool all the way through high school, that you'd hope it's a lot better than that. And since reading and math are really pretty atrocious in this state, one would hope that they improve a couple of grades in their competency in the course of that time. And maybe if they are at a reading level of pre-high school, that they get into a high school level of reading, at least by the time they're done. So.
Well, I am not a teacher, so I don't know what percentage of improvement is, but I do know that the Boys and Girls Club is also a mechanism, as you said already, for families to be able to work and have their children in a safe place. And it's more than just education because it's not a school, although they do a lot of teaching. There's a lot more that kids learn than just reading and math. They learn to play together, work together, respect each other, integrity, doing the right thing when mom and dad aren't around, and it gives them the means so that if 3% is what they get, that's better than them sitting at home playing Xbox or on the streets if they're too young. So for me, having that means for the parents to be able to go to work and have their kids there is very worthy, especially with the mentor program. The divorce rate is so high that a lot of people are yearning for a father figure or a male or a female figure in their life, and I think the Boys and Girls Club offers that.
You know, last time I broached that there was a study that was done, and I think I even talked about it when we interviewed them. And it was where they went to an institution that dealt with males that were there and they were incarcerated. So it was a juvenile detention center. And they took 2 soccer balls, and they took 2 young men with 1 soccer ball, and they turned to them and they said, okay, get the soccer ball from him. And there was a struggle. So after a while, making sure nobody got hurt, they stopped it. Then they brought up 2 other individuals and gave one the ball, and to the other one that says, ask him if you can have the ball. And it was a way of saying, you deduced that I asked you to take the ball away from them when there's another way to do that. And it really seems simplistic, but it had consequences that played out later as people were able to see a way to negotiate things that didn't lend to physical confrontation.
Mm-hmm.
And so,
So we have,
I'd like to abide by the 12,000.
May I, for me, the Boys and Girls Club is amazing, but I have to go back to how much funding we have. They're a huge organization. They have wonderful funding outside, and tons of membership. It's just, for me, I'm going back to my smaller amount. I just think there's things in AJ that we could do better, and we only have 100,000. So I'm not debating whether it's a great group or not. It certainly is. Almost everyone who's asked for money has some sort of current value. But for me, again, they're a really big organization, and they can get money elsewhere.
I'd like to propose we go to option 2, 3,000 for Boys and Girls Club, and give the rest to the food bank.
Fair enough.
And that should bring us up to our $100,000, if I'm not mistaken.
so then,
So it'd be like,
No, it's only 90. What, oh, wait a minute, okay.
okay.
Just a little bit more. Not that much.
Good job.
that?
Oh, you got it. Okay.
You know, you punch enough buttons, you'll get there, right?
Yeah, you'll
Okay,
get,
so-
you'll get there.
Okay, so, and just for clarity, so that we have no ambiguity in this, we are of a consensus that option 2 is the amounts that we wish to present to the,
No, I'm
Every-
not. I'm not in consensus. I'm in consensus that option 1 is what we're presenting to the city council.
So there is still $11,000 in option 1 that you're going to want to distribute.
Give it to the food bank.
so, by and large, New Leaf gets a little less, AJDC gets a little more, but not $500 less than option 2. Azora Vita, not to be too taxing, gets 3,000 instead of 2,000. Bad pun and nobody laughed.
I got it.
smile.
I was hoping you weren't.
We smiled and nodded.
Oh, okay, but black and gold, because Brennan said Boys and Girls gets 6,000.
I would like to up that in order to reach our total, or at least a portion of the total.
I would like to up them as well. When I think about them, and one thing that he said that I like was, he was like, Gilbert took some of our kids, and when we think about a long-term, community-based city, people love football,
Yes, they do.
and football brings other things with it.
True.
And I feel like he has the gumption and the attitude to be able to bring it when it comes. We want people to come to Apache Junction and watch how these kids flourish. So if I was to give anybody anything extra, it would be that organization, second to the food bank.
Okay. So how would you divide that? We have approximately $11,000.
So I would give 5 to the football and 6 to the food bank.
Well, that's being pretty generous. Yeah.
I
don't know if
put
I'll give 'em
12
that much.
originally.
Yeah,
Yes, you did.
you did.
I
would probably give them about maybe 8,500 and then, because I'm looking at option 2, like 8,500 and then the remaining to the food bank.
Yeah.
I think for a brand-new organization, as much as I, love kids and stuff, anything more than the 8,500 would be a lot for him to
Manage.
track, manage, and adhere to all the
Fair.
requirements.
I think you're right. I think that's
He's a
fair.
one-man show.
Right. And we
Okay.
want to support people and encourage them and say, you know what? We want to try to give something for everybody because we want everybody to feel like I can come there and have a place in AJ. But we want to be able to give it in a way to where it's not overwhelming or we put too much on them and they don't produce how they
Yeah.
probably want to.
Okay. So if we take some time now, I'd like to be specific with what we're believing we're allocating the funds for. So per this option 1, we have 6,000. I can put this down in ink. Is that correct?
Not necessarily.
Are we done talking?
I don't.
we're still
I
going
think
here.
we still have 2,000 going to NASCAR, and the argument was, I mean, if we're looking at option 1, the argument was, that's very little for them to, they couldn't even present the application correctly, how can they spend I hate to say it like that, $2,000.
No,
But then we also have 3,000 going to Kiwanis, and we're right back at the same,
dilemma.
I mean, they're taking kids to the rodeo. $3,000 for them to figure out how to spend it according to the guidelines is a lot.
Yeah, they didn't have the greatest definition to how the allocation of funding was going to be expended. And a one-day
Kiwanis
trip
has
with.
its own funding too.
To the rodeo was going to be an expense and an interesting experience. But they did have pamphlets on predators and other things. But I just don't know how actively they're involved, and Jeff was not over elaborating on the other things.
Well, he did say they do a donation of 72 backpacks and of school supplies, not
that's
food.
true.
School supplies, and they do a lock-in where they do give kids food. They do student awards to special education.
But is that where the money's going?
Yeah.
I think
To
that's.
those things? Okay.
One thing I look at when I start doing the numbers here is how much are they asking? They're asking for an amount in their application that they think they can spend responsibly.
Yeah.
And that's why I usually, on some of these amounts, I usually start with what they're asking.
Yeah.
Because I think Commissioner Smithson makes a good point. Can they handle more than they're asking for?
Right.
Because if they needed more than that, they would have asked for more than that.
Right.
I mean, that's my thinking.
Yeah.
So if they're asking for $6,000 and we're offering them $8,500, are they going to be able to adequately use that extra $2,500?
Oh, you mean blue and
Black,
gold?
yeah,
Like
black and
blue and
gold.
gold, for
He
instance.
said he was
Okay.
doing a Hail Mary.
Yeah.
He didn't know what to ask for.
He
Right, I
did say
agree.
that.
Yeah, he said he didn't know what to ask for, so.
Because I asked him,
Now,
I said, if
I
you
didn't-
had more, if you were given, why'd you ask for 6,000? He goes, because I didn't want to be greedy.
Right.
He said, but if you allocate more money to me, we can
remember
definitely
that.
use it.
Now, I think next year, we would see them coming back with a different amount.
Right.
Because now it's based on more experience that they have, and they'll ask for more money. And then next year, we have the option to give them more money.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
that's
so-
fair enough.
So does option 1 get modified with BGYFL to 6,000?
6,000.
Okay.
I say no. I think we should still leave it at 85.
So do I.
Can we split the baby?
Yes.
Solomon,
Miss Solomon.
Solomon.
Yeah, Solomon.
The
Solomon.
one that, yeah.
Yes.
Give them
Put it where?
7,000. And,
7,000.
yeah,
Well, that's option
Can you
two.
live with that?
yeah, isn't it?
Yes.
Can you guys live with that?
I would prefer 85, because I think everybody's trying to push all the money to the food bank, and I feel like there's plenty of money in the food bank. I think the AJCDC should get bumped up to the 75, which was their ask. And I think the football could use way more than what he realizes. Uniform, scholarship, shoes, I feel that they could responsibly spend that money.
Yeah, I don't know, because he obviously has a generalized sort of format, and if, with time, he becomes more adroit about what his actual expenses are going to be. I
He
think
is brand
that-
new to his position. He explained that. And,
7,000 will give him confidence to come back next year.
yeah.
Where are we splitting the difference?
But I do agree, 7,500 for the CDC. That's what they asked for, it's $500.
Okay, so
I would
take,
go with that.
take
And we might have to
8,500.
do a vote.
Okay,
I think we're
Well
at a
said.
standstill.
all right.
Yeah, well
So,
said.
Well, one of the options could be, right now, it looks like we have two sets here. One group that's advocating for one option, and the other group that's advocating for the other option.
well,
Now it's
wait,
time for a vote.
we don't necessarily have groups, but we have one person that is advocating for 8,500, and then we have others that have voiced some difference about.
I think we have two that are advocating for 85.
Are we looking at option one or option two now?
love
I'm so confused.
We're on option one.
Okay, we're on option one? Yeah, well, I definitely want to give the AJCDC what they asked for, and if not more. I still would love to give them more. So I'm definitely not okay with 7,000.
I
Okay,
agree.
all right, so let's try and look at this. And so we're wavering between the initial request of 6,000 and perhaps 7,000 for BGYFL, correct?
Yes,
Okay, so,
or 8,500, I guess. 7,000 and 8,500?
Yeah, I think we got two over here that want the 85 for,
I'd be willing to give a little bit on that for sure, to make sure that the AJCDC gets at least 7,500. I'd like to see more for them as well, but I can, 7,000 or,
How about
Seventy-
7,000?
How about 7,500 or 8,000?
I could do 7,500.
7,500.
7,500.
Okay, can we have a vote on 7,500, please?
And this is
I'm
for
not
what
sure what I'm
group?
voting for.
Yeah, what group?
This is for BGYFL, 7,500.
Let's just vote option one or option two.
Yes.
That is
Okay.
what the vote has to be, is
Okay.
Yeah.
the full option.
Okay,
Yeah.
perfect.
so we've taken some, let's see,
We're 1,000 off on option one.
And then
Is that going to AJCDC then?
Yes,
I would say. yes.
500 to, oh,
yeah, 8,000.
That brings us up to $100,000.
Okay, fair enough.
So you got option one and option two here.
I think we need to talk a little more about Azura Vida for option one.
Okay. What are your thoughts?
I would put it to 2,000.
Okay.
yeah, I don't have any problem with
That was zero, so
And then where would the extra, where would the extra 1,000 go then?
food bank.
Food
Food
bank.
bank.
Food bank.
See, you're
I'm getting
little
happier
by
here.
little. By midnight, we'll have. Okay. All right. So are we set pretty much on
I'm okay.
options one and two?
Boys and girls have 12,000.
Any other,
You just did
any
that.
other modifications to either of those?
The only big difference would be the Boys and Girls Club. There's quite a,
Yeah,
If we're going for, if we're going for option one, 12,000 is too much.
I
And
disagree,
see,
because if
yeah,
you look
boys
at,
and girls and food bank are where the biggest discrepancies are.
well, I think for, when we go back to our original thoughts, when we were individually going through them, you have 15, 15, 20, 10, and 3, and 1, 0. And so that averaged 12. That's actually, 12 is lower. So I stick with the 12. I think 12 is a fair amount based on everything we've shared today.
That's the average.
Okay.
So how do we,
Is everyone comfortable with that?
we've got two options here.
So are we comfortable taking a vote between option 1 and option 2?
Yes.
I don't know. Let me look.
Okay. Is everyone comfortable with having a vote between 1 and 2, options 1 and 2?
There's such a big discrepancy between the Boys and Girls Club for 12,000 and 3,000 though.
Yeah.
I don't know, I mean,
So is
that
the
throws
food
all the
bank.
numbers off.
The food bank is a big discrepancy as well, yeah.
Well, that's where most of it is.
Those two.
Most of it is at the food bank rather than the Boys and Girls Club.
And
Because the other
9
amounts are
11.
pretty close.
I mean, I guess if we look at New Leaf,
Once again, a New Leaf, when we looked at the real data, and they said there are 466 people that they have, that is a broad representation, and only 72 were from Apache Junction, that's 15%. And so if you take that at face value, and they said they could get by with 13,000, and if you did 15% of 13,000, that would be even less than 6,000, so I think 6,000 is pretty generous.
I'm at a point where I don't like either of them.
No, I'm
Oh, so for a new leaf, one of the things that the gentleman stated for a new leaf is the fact that I think some of the money was based on the fact that they can get matches with it. So
Correct.
that was one avenue with that. Another thing too is, and I don't know how this will land on the ears, they are wanting information, this is just for education for domestic violence.
right.
That's it.
Well, no.
Is it services for them or just, okay, we're here for domestic violence? Like,
No, go ahead.
I'm just curious as what it looks like, because when I think about, we're just putting out information in Apache Junction about domestic violence. I think that's something that's well-known, and I feel like if they are in a domestic violence situation and law enforcement gets involved, or a caseworker gets involved, or a school gets involved, I feel like they would have the avenues to be referred to this agency or any other domestic violence agency. I feel like it is a well-known service. So I don't know if 6 or 8 would be what I would recommend.
What are you recommending?
I could do, I would say about maybe $4,000 or $5,000.
I think I think we have an option 3 starting here now.
So just so you know, it does state right on here, 4,004 individuals assessed emergency shelter in support of housing. 2,587 survivors of domestic or sexual violence received essential support services. 9,001 individuals benefited from financial assistance, employment and career support, and financial empowerment. 1,691 adults and children received behavioral health services. 1,304 children and their parents, caregivers benefited from family support services. 238 children received educational opportunities that supported their development. That's on page 2, 3 of
That's
their
what they
application.
do, but that's
That's
not what
exactly-
they ask for the money for.
That's right. In addition, they're a huge organization, again, folks, and their mailers are glossy and beautiful, and they have lots of funding behind them. So.
Yeah, they do a lot,
They
but that
do.
is not what they
Right,
allocated the money for.
and what they do is amazing.
Right.
But, back to the same thing, that's a lot of money for an organization that already has a
Like Boys and
bazillion
Girls.
dollars.
They don't have a bazillion dollars. Their 2 fundraisers generated $158,670, and their camaraderie gala was the big one at $817,250 out. So that's less than $1 million.
Right, but as I noted
Annually.
earlier, as a prior medical director of them, I know that United Healthcare.
Yes, they do.
I'm not United,
United
United Way.
United Way.
Funding
Yes.
for their programs.
Yes. They have access to a lot of
And they
different
didn't list
venues.
that, which is, again, my fault in not remembering that at the moment and asking Dana to be more explicit. Recidivism is high in this group. It's remarkably high. It's over 50%. And so you wonder whether or not, inherent in some of it is that people want to believe that the individual that was the abuser isn't going to do that again. And sometimes they go back and find
Multiple
out that
times.
was a foolish conclusion. But there are people that go back several times. And
Which is
so
average.
it really is a dilemma. And then you wonder about the efficacy of interventions when that's what happens exactly. However, I think there is merit. The confusion, because I've had this even in presenting this to the city council, is that if you have someone that's being physically, sexually abused and living in Apache Junction, the intervention is to move them geographically, perhaps way across town.
Correct.
And that way they maintain some anonymity about who they are and where they are, and the perpetrator has difficulty finding them
Correct.
and trying to continue to be abusive. Now, as I said, there's recidivism where some foolishly go back believing that there's been this hiatus and they believe the person changed and the person said they will do X, Y, Z, and it doesn't last long. But they do have additional funding, and we have to try and understand, though, that they are a subset of the New Leaf program. And a New Leaf proper has now outrageously a large budget and deals with a myriad of services, from child and adolescent care to the men's center to the women's center to a variety of things. They even have La Mesita, which is a housing site for individuals of low income that's right across the street from EVIT. So, okay. All right. So, are we content enough with what we have that we can vote on option 1 and 2, or are there other little maneuvers to twink those sums in some way?
So they're going to stay as is for the 6 and 8 for a new leaf?
I would say yes.
So, okay.
I think it's time for a vote on option 1 or 2.
Okay.
How would that work, Gabby? First, we take a vote on option 1, and then if that doesn't pass, we take a vote on option 2.
Yes, that is correct, Commissioner. And then we would come back and someone needs to specify what the funding is going to go for.
Okay.
That's not necessarily another motion, but it's,
Right. I mean,
We want that
have
on
to have
the
a
record.
consensus about exactly what this project is going to have included in it for the reason for allocating that funding. Okay. Is everyone comfortable with that proposal that we would vote on option 1 and 2 as they are defined at present?
You're still confused.
Yeah, no, I don't, I go ahead and vote. I know what I'm going to do, so.
Yeah, you don't have to vote for either one of them if you want to. Option 1.
Okay. So, I would like to ask for a vote on a roll call basis for option 1.
first we need a motion
I would like
and a
to,
second.
I would like to move that we vote on option 1.
Thank you.
I will second.
So we're voting on option 1. Commissioner Kraselic,
Yes.
Commissioner Smithson,
No.
Vice Chairman Danford,
No.
Commissioner Montgomery,
No.
Commissioner Mikeland,
No.
and Chairman Brennan.
No, that's kind of interesting. We went through all of that for a solidarity of no's. Okay,
So that motion passes 5-1.
I would, it passes.
I'm sorry.
I thought it
fails.
failed.
It fails.
Thank you.
yeah.
1 to
We
5,
had-
I'm sorry.
I got a cold
we had-
chill.
I'm having to revamp my sheet here, so it's
Yeah,
it's kind of tricky.
6-0.
Now I would like to make a motion that we vote on option 2.
I'll second the motion.
So we are now voting on option 2. Commissioner Kraselic,
No.
Commissioner Smithson,
Yes.
Vice Chairman Danford,
Yes.
Commissioner Montgomery,
Yes.
Commissioner Mikeland,
Yes, with reservations.
and Chairman Brennan.
Yes. Holy fruitcakes, we may have done it.
Yes, so this one approves, the motion is approved for option 2 with 5 yeses and 1 no.
Okay. All right, now, can we go through them individually and essentially agree on what the specific project is for each one?
And if you want, I can read them.
Okay?
Yes.
So we are doing a new leaf at $8,000
Okay.
for the specific project of.
Crisis intervention in domestic abuse.
In,
And,
with Apache Junction
Residents.
residents.
Correct.
thank you, yes. And then I think that's great, that we
Yeah.
need to add that, specifically for Apache Junction residents.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, I need you all to repeat that.
So crisis intervention and, you said,
In domestic violence,
For Apache Junction residents specifically.
right, whether they're transferred somewhere else as long as they were Apache Junction residents.
See, my understanding is they can come from Mesa, and once they come here, they will be an Apache Junction resident. Because I had asked that, because I was like, well.
did ask that.
Yeah, because I was like, if they're in Apache Junction, you wouldn't keep them there, they would go to Mesa. And she says, when they move, they become a resident of that area. So in actuality, they are going to be possibly outside of Apache Junction, and due to the recidivism, they may only be here 30 days. So,
there may be individuals that will be sent here from Glendale or from Peoria because of that issue of anonymity and geography being required to prevent their predators knowing where they are. But they don't change their physical address on a temporary basis like that.
We just
Now,
have
they
to
may
be
decide to move here.
Okay.
But that would change things anyway, and they'd still be in Apache Junction.
okay.
Okay? All right. Okay. Are we okay with that clarification? Okay.
And then how do we want to word,
Excuse me, Your Honor, can I just get some clarification? So on a new Leafs application, they clearly stated
Education.
they were asking for $20,000. The majority of this is to pay for salaries. They would take $13,500 as acceptable. They are saying that the project is for domestic violence outreach. So
And that's why I said what I said.
But didn't she have as well placement? Because they said, and sheltering. I think that was in there.
they have done that in the past, but if you're
Just education and
specifically going to
outreach.
ask for crisis intervention,
That's what I was saying, that's a lot of money for education and outreach, because that's all they were asking for.
for shiny pamphlets?
I'm not sure what page it is on their application. I don't know if you all have it there.
Well, they have services include hotel stays, emergency food programs were available for 40 Apache Junction households. It says stays for 8 in Apache Junction, 9 households, gift cards, et cetera. Let's see what else. Merge with Community Alliance, okay, that's history.
So when we title it crisis intervention,
And they
that
have-
doesn't mean
well, and-
outreach.
No, and it says CAFA provides a 16-bed emergency shelter.
Yeah, I don't think they want to do the emergency shelter thing with this money.
Okay.
I thought they mentioned something like,
I thought it was just outreach. I think the 6 or 8 would be beneficial for other things, but not for outreach.
So it's really unclear because it says, how will this project serve Apache Junction proper residents? Located in AJ, and New Leafs provides easy access to services for survivors of domestic and sexual abuse. In addition to direct services, a New Leaf staff participate in Apache Junction community events to provide education, one right there, and outreach for those who may be seeking assistance. What services will be provided? And it says the mission, but the mission is not necessarily what this project is going to be
Correct.
funded to benefit.
Well, wait, you skipped a portion of the first paragraph. It says outreach advocates provide crisis intervention, resources, and referral to assist survivors in obtaining the support needed to meet their specific needs. When needed, overflow shelters through hotel stays are provided. Outreach advocates also offer support groups and educational classes for survivors. So they do have, if the case, if you'll remember, I got admonished for bringing up the guy's name, even though they published it
Yes.
and had it there. So
Right.
it wasn't some sort of breach of confidentiality. And my question was, why did they remove the child when it was the mother that was the abuser?
Right.
But anyway,
So my understanding, the project is to actually provide services, not just education, according to this document.
right.
I guess if we specify it, it sticks. I don't know.
So again, even in the case that they had is, he had a stable place to stay and did not need a shelter. So obviously, the implications are, had he needed it, that would have been arranged. And then they equivocate when they say, justice may mean something different to each victim, and many choose not to get involved in the criminal justice system. Yeah, and then they get brutalized again. All right. So are we comfortable with this verbiage, or are we still trying to refine that?
Crisis intervention, domestic violence education, flexible housing stability funds, salaries and employee-related expenses?
Well, one of the things that's a real misnomer is including salaries, because we believe that salaries ought to be something that they cover in some other way. It's the services that we provide other things for. This was one of the problems that we had with another agency that came in here and wanted a large sum of money last year, and 90% of it was for salaries.
Yeah.
Well, this is on the second to the last page, and it says a detailed narrative of the costs, salaries, employee-related expenses, flexible housing stability funds, and indirect costs. The total request is $20,000.
So, but we can specify not to include salaries for staff.
So Chairman, I have a question. So we do this every year. So year over year, these people come back. We've already talked about that. Is there any accountability of them providing proof per se that, hey, here's our balance sheet, we took this X number of dollars?
Quarterly
So,
report.
wait a minute.
Yeah,
So
okay.
that's exactly what it is that I
Okay.
said, is that we're supposed to have metrics that say,
Thank
how
you.
did you spend it? What was the efficacy of that, et cetera? Now, what becomes confusing is that they put down that they had applied last year, and they really didn't. CAFA did not have a proposal for us last year. They were here the year before, but last year they did not make a proposal to us, nor were they funded.
But they said they got 6750 in their packet here.
I know, but they said for fiscal year, what they didn't understand, which is amazing, is that the fiscal year that we have for even this is 26, 27.
I
Utilities,
understand.
food,
Yeah.
transportation.
Okay, and
like that.
they misconstrued the 24, 25.
Understand, okay, so that's really a zero for
Yeah.
last year?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So is it all right if I add, so crisis intervention and domestic violence for AJ residents, not to be for employee wages,
Not to include salaries.
employee salary?
Salaries.
Can you repeat that?
Yeah. So, crisis intervention and domestic violence for AJ residents, not to be for employee salary.
Thank
Will
you.
this include flexible housing stability funds?
Yes.
That helps with
Yes.
utilities, foods, transportation. Okay, fantastic.
That falls under the
No.
category of crisis intervention.
Okay, fantastic.
Okay. Okay, moving on then. AJ, CDC,
AJCDC in the amount of $7,500
okay.
for the specific projects of,
Their specific project is, number one, city code remediation, city code violation remediation.
Because it has operating expenses, code compliance, and residence cleanup needs.
Right, but, so that code violation remediation deals with some of the community things, but people otherwise noted that, you know, some of the issues about the general community and taking care of trash, et cetera, or other things. So, the way that I would write that would be, removal of hazardous environmental community issues. Is that okay? People comfortable with that verbiage?
Hazardous and what?
Community issues, hazardous materials.
Environmental
That's hazardous.
Items.
Hazardous
materials.
materials.
Okay.
so are you comfortable with operating expenses?
I mean, that's what they do. Everything we stated is like an operating expense, right?
Right. So I'm kind of hearing that we could just write what they have as their project.
Yeah,
Operating expenses, code
because
compliance,
they
and
don't
resident
take
cleanup
a salary, nobody has a salary, it's all their operating expenses.
Okay.
But they just somehow avoid writing down that they
The
deal with
shovels.
city code remediation. Yeah. So I'm sorry, so what's the rest of the story?
Operating expenses.
And,
So what they have listed is operating expenses, code compliance, and residence cleanup needs.
okay,
Okay.
hazardous, removal of hazardous materials, resident.
Oh, no, I already put it.
I know. But hers and Dr. Brennan's will be the final.
Needs and operating. Okay. And we're very
Zura
mo-
Vida.
Okay, Azura Vita was the amount,
$2,000?
2,000, okay.
And what did they state for their, because let's not reword it if it's stated.
Yeah,
Yeah,
let's not.
I like that.
Thank you, I think that's a cleaner-
Volunteer income tax assistance for low to moderate income individuals and families
In Apache Junction.
in Apache Junction.
Okay.
Sounds fantastic.
Income tax filing and assistance for medium and,
Low to
okay.
Moderate.
moderate.
Medium and moderate income families. Of AJ, okay. All right, so I have income tax filing and assistance for medium and moderate income families of AJ.
Okay.
All right. Black and gold.
Black and Gold Youth Football League in the amount of $7,000.
Okay.
We'll call it sports scholarships. I'm not sure.
They just have fall football and cheer scholarships, but he did say that this was strictly going to be for football. They're not
They didn't do
advancing
cheer.
in the cheer until
Right.
sometime later.
So we say, so for child and adolescent sports football scholarships
Okay.
For AJ.
for AJ.
For AJ.
Yes, yes. Residents. Okay. Okay, Boys and Girls Club.
So for Boys and Girls Club, we have $3,000. And their application says out-of-school time programs for Apache Junction youth.
Okay. Okay. So I think that the verbiage that they use in schools is after hours, isn't it? After hour education.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Is that okay? Are people comfortable with that? After hour and, because it's really more than that. They also cover the times when school is in session, like over the summer and holidays and stuff, so.
Yeah, that's true,
So they have it worded as out-of-school time.
out of school.
Okay,
Yeah.
That's a better word.
okay.
Because they did talk about the days off.
Summer.
Time.
The $3,000 to provide programs and kid scholarships
Okay,
for Apache Junction.
programs. And kids scholarships. Children of AJ, okay. So I have out-of-school time for programs and kids scholarships for children of Apache Junction. Kiwanis,
So for Kiwanis, we have $2,000.
okay. To buy a typewriter. to submit
And they
their
just
next
have youth
application.
services as their project.
What was that? You said,
They have it listed as youth services.
okay.
Oh, that's remarkably specific.
Can we say,
Okay, how can we be a little more specific?
Do we need to be?
Yeah, because how do you measure youth services in general?
Support for STARS program, Stand Up AJ. What services will be supported? Then it says boys and girls and salvation.
for $2,000, I'm comfortable with what we're talking about, the just youth services for AJ, for Apache Junction kids.
Me too.
I'm sorry, youth services?
Youth services for Apache Junction children,
Yeah, for $2,000.
$2,000. I don't know if I need to specify all of that.
Right, because the other thing was the backpacks of school supplies and.
Oh, let's do that. Let's do backpack, school supplies, and adjunctive services for youth of Apache Junction.
How about leave off adjunctive and just say backpack supplies?
Adjunctive means in addition to.
I know.
Leave it off, just say backpack supplies.
Okay, so backpack and school supplies, and you're gonna leave it at that without, how do you account for the rodeo, et cetera? I guess those
We're
are,
giving-
we'll put it in a
Backpacks.
backpack and carry
They
them
come
in.
up with the money for the rodeo, we're paying for the backpacks.
Youth events?
Okay,
They
and
did
youth
also-
events.
Yep, they did also mention Safety Child Protection Program.
But we're only giving them $2,000.
That's all I was about to say, they're doing one thing with that money.
Yeah,
They're all
but,
coming to your house.
yeah, yeah,
You're gonna keep them
but,
safe.
but they've got all sorts of
Stretch
pamphlets
that
they're putting out that I'm sure that pays for it.
Gotta keep them safe.
And I'm sorry, and youth, what, I'm sorry.
I think I put youth events.
Okay, and youth events, okay. And we have adults that do that too. Okay, so, NASCAR, and it's
Zero.
not a cream.
NASCAR is 0.
0.
Okay, so I don't have to write down anything specifically for, I can put el dulce far niente, the sweetness of nothing.
Please don't.
You okay with that? El dulce far niente? No.
Translate that to English, please.
I said the sweetness of nothing. Okay,
Last.
And the food bank for $70,500 for the specific project or projects of. So here is where you're going to specify how much for the backpack program. What's listed on the application is emergency food program, holiday box program, and student backpack food program.
So how do we specify to make sure that all goes to only Apache Junction families?
oh, wait a minute, I forgot to do that for AJ residents. Yeah, that's how we do it, we just add that addendum for AJ residents. 25,000, student backpack program, and I'm sorry, Abby, what,
Emergency food program,
emergency food program?
I'm not comfortable with that. Because I want a specified amount for the backpack program. I don't want just one big,
right, that's what I'm saying. So
Yes.
what he has listed is emergency food program, the holiday box program, and the student backpack food program.
so I would like to specify 45,000 for the backpack program. Unless somebody wants to say more.
Well,
I was thinking of
Well,
30,000 for the
you know,
backpack program.
Yeah,
but-
I think the problem, when you're dealing with 70,500, and you want 40,000 for backpacks, that's disproportionately a lot.
Well,
I don't have a problem with
Then
that.
let's go with
I think the number
30.
was 42,000 is what it costs to put food in 4 schools. And I think our big argument, and my big argument, has continued to be the food bank provides services to only 62% of Apache Junction residents. And we went through every one of these, and we were very specific for Apache Junction. Every one of them we said for Apache Junction. Now we get to the food bank, and it's like, well, I agree, the whole amount should go to the backpack program, except for they only need 42,000 for that. So now we're basically giving the remainder to box lunches, emergency for anybody that comes through, which is not Apache Junction specific, because there's only 62% of the people benefiting.
Well,
That are from
62,
AJ.
wait a minute though, but if 62% of 42,000 is quite a few people.
But we want to give 100% of this to Apache Junction. That's what we've said with every one of these
I
organizations.
understand, but I mean, but if you had 62% of 42,000 people, do the math. So 60% of 40,000 would be 24,000 people.
It's actually 26,000.
60% of,
It's, I read it right off of the report that was given to us.
no, but he said 62% of Apache Junction residents. But you have, if you're taking 40,000 from this, you only have 30,000 to deal with that number of individuals. So, so 62% of 42,000.
Well, the 42,000 is for Apache Junction School, so we can
No,
assume.
no, that's 42,000 is the population of Apache Junction.
No, $42,000 is what it cost for the backpack.
We're suggesting
but I mean-
42,000 for the backpacks for Apache Junction.
I
kids.
understand, you're missing my point. My point is, there are 42,000 residents in Apache Junction.
60% of that.
Isn't that correct?
No, 47,000 residents is the population. 45,790
Okay, so if-
individuals
okay,
came
okay,
through.
So if there's 47,900 and something, say 48,000, do 62% of that, because they said 62% of their people that they meet are Apache Junction residents.
Except this is for the backpack
So
program,
wait.
which is for the kids
wait,
only.
Wait, that's a separate issue. You've said that you want 40,000 for the backpack issue, but that only leaves $30,500 for all of this other population.
Okay. So we give $30,000 to the other population for his other projects.
So grandma gets a star.
Well, we're not
We
their,
do have other sources.
we're not their only
they
source of
don't.
funding,
Our
Chair.
main interest here is in the the backpack program. And I think, I agree, let's give 42,000 to the backpacks, and then we'll specify the rest of the money gets divided up to his other projects.
That are for Apache Junction.
That way the children are taken care of on the weekends. That was my whole point of this from the very beginning.
So, but wait,
So 25.
children have to be taken care of, I hear you. But if they don't have parents that are alive because they're starving, that doesn't do them a lot of good.
Yeah, I don't know if that's,
But if the
I don't
kids
know
are
if that's
getting fed, the
valid.
parents have money now to buy food for themselves.
Who
Because we're-
says?
We're helping to make a dent, well, we're hoping to, we're making a dent in that food budget.
I understand.
So if you give me $100 a week to feed my cat, that's $100 a week I don't have to spend.
Well, wait,
I'm okay if you guys specify 45,000 to the.
Thank you.
Eric can make it
Eric,
work.
we all
Thank you,
agree
Eric.
with
For the
that.
back,
The
45
argument
for the
I'm making is, so then we still have 35,000, of which of that remaining 35,000, 60% of it is for Apache Junction residents, the remainder is not.
So I'll tell you that the holiday box program, almost 90% of those 300 families per holiday are AJ residents, because they have to come back on a special day. So the people that don't live close don't tend to want to come back on that Saturday to receive that box. So the holiday program has, the majority is AJ people, and then the student backpack program is 100% AJ students. So I'm fine with 45,000 going to the backpack program. That'll allow me to extend it and to beef it up, if you will. And then we can use the rest for holiday meals and I understand what you're saying, Dr. Brennan, but then I can go after grants to cover that, just like I was going after grants
There
to
you go.
cover the backpack program.
Okay.
So I get it. I mean, and I'll make it work, Elisa, where we,
so really all we have is 25,500
Yes,
for the.
correct.
For the holiday
Yeah.
boxes,
No,
or whatever else you need.
right.
Yeah. Eric can work miracles.
Yeah, I'll make it work. And I'll make sure that AJ people are.
That's what I want. I want it to
I'll
be
make
for
sure that
AJ
people
families.
Okay.
Are getting, yeah.
What I also want, since we're talking about it, I want a better program for the homeless people. It bothers me immensely that homeless people get a wrapped granola bar because they don't have a refrigerator or a kitchen to cook it in. And I feel that there's a big disconnect with the food bank where these people are getting these beautiful box meals, and because I live on a bicycle in a cardboard box, I'm not getting the benefit of what everybody here believes in, and that's a full belly. And so that's what my ask is, Eric, is what can we do to help our homeless people?
So can I interject, please? We do need to stay on agenda, and that is really another topic.
Yes,
We'll have
And we
lunch.
can have a conversation.
okay,
Do we need to put our names on this?
yes. It didn't have a place to sign, but on the initial other form we do, so, yeah. On the second page.
Have we settled on the verbiage for this?
45,000.
Backpack is 45,000 and holiday boxes is 25,500
So nothing is
for
going to the
only
emergency-
Apache Junction residents.
Okay, and nothing for the emergency food program.
Right. That's too hard to.
Yeah, that's pretty hard to nail down just to AJ residents, so I think that's why Eric suggested doing all to the holiday box.
Okay.
All right. So, I just messed this up. Okay. So in light of that, I believe we've come to some conclusions. We had a little bit of contentiousness, but it seems that that's
Process.
the way that is. So I adjourn this meeting at 7:07 PM on the 30th of March, 2026.